We're at the Resevior here in Bloemfontein. We've come to view the photographic exhibition, Jong Afrikaner. The artist is Roelof Petrus van Wyk.
In the most simplest terms, I want to make visible Afrikaners post-apartheid. I want people to look at how these young Afrikaners are identifying, are seeing themselves, and who are pushing what it is to be an Afrikaner, to have that history of being an Afrikaner, and it includes apartheid. Secondly, what you think is an Afrikaner, how they are pushing that. So your language, somebody like Jolande Visser, how she's working with language, playing with language. And she's only one of an example of so many people who are writing at the moment, poetry, story form, etc. There's an explosion of the language of Afrikaans. And the music is obviously another big genre where people are working with language. Secondly, for me, it's one of the big things through this exhibition of the individual people is how they reach out to people who are not Afrikaners, people who don't look like them, don't have the same skin color, the same language, or the same beliefs for that matter, or the same sexual orientation. How they are opening themselves up to other people in order to enrich their own Afrikaner identity. And that's very different from apartheid, where you were told that you had to have short hair, you had to be heterosexual, you have to get married with 4 children, drive a little car, pray to Jesus, and vote for the National Party. Nobody here subscribes to those rules. None of those Afrikaner rules are appropriate here or are actually believed. So I'm giving not only voice to these people, I'm showing you what they look like, and I'm asking you to come and have a look, see what they look like, but also then ask yourself, who is an Afrikaner? If you are one, how are you identifying as an Afrikaner, and what are you doing to enrich what that means or what that identity means to you?
A lot of them, you can see that they feel uncomfortable being up straight, or they slouch more forward. It's interesting because you can see.
What do you think of the exhibition?
I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing. I like the way the photos are curated. I like the photos themselves. I'm really impressed by the photography that's here.
And you're a photographer as well. And you're an Afrikaner.
I am indeed.
And how does this speak to you as an Afrikaner and also as a photographer?
Well, as a photographer, I'm actually in awe of the way the photographs have been taken. I was actually telling someone earlier on that black as a color is a very dead color. It doesn't capture anything. It doesn't capture light very well. It doesn't capture color very well. But the darkness within these photos, I'm talking specifically about the black backgrounds, is in such a way it feels full. You know, it's a nice contrast to the bodies, but without being apart from the bodies. You know, that the darkness feels like it's part of the image. It's not separate from the image. So I love it. I think it's brilliantly done. And as an Afrikaner, at first I was a bit, what's the word, cautious, you know, especially with the history within our country. It's difficult to talk about things like that as well. People are still touchy-feely, you know. But the way I was brought up, my parents, even though they were part of the whole apartheid regime, they brought me and my sister up very differently. They brought us up to respect and to love everyone. You know, there's never been any race discrimination in my home. So for me as an Afrikaner, it's a lot different to other people, because I feel like an Afrikaner definitely, but more because of the tradition that's within Afrikaans homes and families, separate from the racism. You know, that racism is completely not part of my ingredients at all. So within an exhibition like this, I'm surprised that it's only, you know, white models within the exhibition. I'd expected there to be some, you know, play with what it is, but it also is that I'm impressed by the fact that he's actually asking. You know, he's asking me, what is it? He's not telling you this is what it is. This is white. This is this. This is this. You know, he's asking you, what is it to you? What does it mean to you to be an Afrikaner? And that is what I love about this. Is that it's not, this exhibition isn't put there as a statement. It's put there as a question, as an open-ended question that's there for your self-interpretation. And I think it's awesome. And also to hear the stories behind the photographs as well really changes the way you see the photographs, see the people in the photographs. You know? So I think it's brilliant, and I think more people should start asking the same questions.
So we're dealing with apartheid, right? You know what that is?
Yeah.
Yes. It's more interesting question is, how do German people of today, the youth of today, deal with the Holocaust? Do you speak about it? Is it something that's open? Is it something that's hidden? Is it something that is part of your identity?
What did you think of the photography in this exhibition?
It's different from the German art, yeah. But it's the first time that I go to a photography
Exhibition.
yeah.
What are you doing in South Africa?
I go, it's an exchange.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
an exchange student.
Yeah, and I have found new friends, and we go out. Yeah.
So, do you know what an Afrikaner is?
What?
Afrikaner.
Yeah.
That's someone that speaks Afrikaans
Yeah.
in South Africa.
Yeah.
This exhibition, it's not only about us as Afrikaners or as white Afrikaners, it's also how we as white Afrikaners are perceived. I have a lot of friends from all cultures, and the interesting conversation late at night is usually, how do I define myself as a white Afrikaner? And it's something I struggle with, because I am a reluctant Afrikaner because of the history of apartheid. But actually through other people's eyes, I've become to be a proud Afrikaner, because that's how people see me, because I choose to be part of Africa and not to be different from Africa. And that is why I'm welcomed into the fold, into what we call Ubuntu, which means you are a person through other people.
Young people, not just in South Africa, but around the world, are defining and redefining themselves, unmasking their identities, removing the layers that exist in their heritage. They are also keeping their identities and histories, staying true to themselves, whatever that self may be. Traditions are evolving.
En is baie interessant van 'n portraiture, photography portraiture. Hoe neem jy tyd af? Hoe neem jy lewe af? As hulle vir jou 'n brief gee wat sê photograph time, photograph life. Wat is 'n Afrikaner? Wat is dit? Wie is 'n Afrikaner? En is jy een?